What's up guys? For today's video, we're installing EVA foam flooring to the jonboat build. If you're new to the channel, there's links in the description for a playlist that covers everything we've done to get to this point. In the last couple of videos, we got all of the wood flooring cut and installed and sealed up with epoxy. Now, every surface on this boat is either painted, epoxied, or ready for EVA foam flooring. Preparation for this video actually started last night. I went ahead and unrolled the first sheet of EVA flooring and stretched out across the boat to give it time to unravel and hopefully take out some of the curl that comes with foam when it's being shipped. The only other thing I've done so far is I've prepped this top surface here. I hit it with a sander just to take off any oxidation that might have been up there. Then I wiped it down with some aluminum brightener to get this surface ready for the EVA flooring. If you caught the end of the last video, I gave you guys a sneak peek on the flooring we're going to be using, and that is a light gray and black stripe. I think that it's really going to match with the colors that are on this boat already and also the things I have to install. For tools, there's really not too much you need for this. I've got myself a good straight edge for making straight cuts. I've got a couple snap blades. I really like using snap blades because a sharp edge makes a big difference with cutting this. After every few cuts, I can just snap off a piece of the blade and I'm back to having a sharp blade. Also, I have some 3M contact adhesive. This stuff is very strong. It's not something I'm putting everywhere. It's just gonna be in case I'm having issues with like an edge that's peeling or something like that. Now, this is my first time using EVA foam from Amazon. The last boat I did, I spent the money and I got HydroTurf and it was an extremely quality product. This is very much a budget build, so I want to see if this EVA foam is worth using. Links to this flooring as well as the tools will all be in the description for you guys to check it out yourself. So the first thing I want to do to get started is to cut a piece of foam down to a more workable piece. To do that, I'm just going to measure the longest portion of this front lid here, which comes out to be about 27 inches. Now for cutting, I like to cut on top of a piece of foam board. That way you're not dulling your knife if you're cutting on the floor, like on concrete, for example. And it just makes for a really nice, easy, and light cut surface. All right, so right off the bat, I am happy to report that it did take a lot of the curl out that was in the foam, so I'm glad that I had done that overnight. As I said, we're gonna be using a snap blade, so I'm gonna start with a fresh blade here. For snap blades, it comes with a bunch of little indents here, so you can just take the furthest one out and then literally just snap it off. And now we're working with a nice sharp edge for the point here. All right, so I said we needed about 27 inches. I'm gonna go 28 just to have some extra. Gonna use my speed square to make sure we're cutting a straight line. I purposefully painted over, so once this is down, it's gonna be a nice clean edge. Now I'm just gonna peel a corner off to get it started. Make sure we're right in position. I'm just gonna start by applying just the one corner here, and then I can peel up from the back. That's staying nice and straight. All right, so at this point we have enough applied where we're not gonna shift. So now we can just keep peeling and smoothing it out as we peel. Now with all the backing out, we're just gonna keep smoothing it out. Now, the fun part of making it all look nice. So we're gonna take a good portion of the bulk off here, just following the body line. And then we're gonna do the same for the front here. It looks like our body line starts right on the edge here, and we want it to go about right here. I'll keep this straight edge pressed down, and I'm just gonna come lightly down to score it. I'm gonna do this a couple times. And you'll start to feel your blade drag into the boat. Now let's see if we can peel this off. That looks really good. I might take it in a little bit. I found in the last boat that having actually a little bit of the surface poking through on the edge not only leads to a better connected edge, it also looks nicer. All right, so let's make our next cut here. Once you have a couple scores, you can put a little bit more pressure to make your final cut. Okay. Yeah, that looks really good. That's a nice, good line right there. I'm gonna save this cut here until I have that piece on. That way I know that that line is completely perfect. One thing I need to do though is cut this strip off, this ending one, and I'm gonna cut it right along the black. So the new piece that's gonna get attached to it is gonna have a black edge, and then those will butt up together and you won't even be able to tell the difference. I'm just gonna come right down this black line. There we go. So now we have a nice clean edge here to work with. And that way, when our new piece connects onto it, it's gonna butt right up like that and you'll never see the cut. So that worked out good. Now, on my last build, I still have pieces that look like this stored over there in the corner. They have the backing on it still. And I thought, oh, this is all such great material. I'm gonna use it on something. Well, it's been about a year now and I haven't used it on anything. So all of this scrap here is gonna get trashed. Just sucks though, because look at it. Look at all this good material. I don't know what I'd use it for. So like I said, we're gonna be keeping the black stripe on this cut. So what I'm gonna do, peel off just this edge, line this up in the front, and then tuck it in. Perfect. That line down. And then now I can just peel this rest of it up and we'll lay it straight down. If you didn't know any better, you'd never tell this was two different pieces. That is the beauty of using the black center stripes, or really any of the ones that have the different color in the stripe, or really just using anything that's not a solid piece. If you run a solid piece, you're gonna have seams. There's no way around it, especially if it's all one color. The camo ones are a little easier to hide, but then you still have to worry about matching up your camo pattern. So I find that this is probably one of the easier types of foam styling to do. Let's start with this cut, and then we can trim it back further if we need to. But I think this looks pretty good. And then now finally, we have to do our angle here. Actually rather convenient because we have the one edge to line up to. I think I'm gonna come around that side to do this cut. Now that is looking really, really good. It's exactly what I wanted to do. And just to show you what I mean about how a little bit of an edge kind of cleans it up, this is how it looks like before the edge. And now to match the edge I put on that side, I already have this cut here. I think that looks way cleaner. Now I'm gonna come back and paint right here just to make sure this all looks good. But I think that that edge looks way nicer than having it overlapping any other edges. And now you've got a nice tight seal with the surface, so you're not worried about anything getting under it and your adhesive failing. And then same thing, just cleaning this line up. And now just to clean up this one edge here, show you how I do that. I just have the foam taped off. Beautiful. That looks absolutely perfect. All right, and now one last look before I move on. Fully cleaned up and trimmed up. I am really happy with how that turned out. All right, so for the epoxied wood here, there's not too much prep we need to do. The surface is already a little scuffed up, so I'm just gonna rub it down with some rubbing alcohol just to make sure it's nice and clean, free from debris, any kind of overspray, for example, or anything like that. And that'll give us a great surface for the foam flooring to stick to. This would be a great scenario to use a cardboard cutout to get these angles right. What I'm gonna do instead is actually just take this board out of the boat. That way I'll be able to lay my foam down and then I can apply everything to the board before it gets reinstalled into the boat. All right, so I'm gonna peel this front lip down. So now, let's go ahead and flip this over. There we go. Now that since this is flipped over, I can just come through and trim it up from the outside, and then hopefully that will give me a good look once I flip it over. So for this line, since my wood isn't exactly straight, I'm gonna use a straight edge here, and I might leave a little bit of an overhang. And then for the back of it, this is just gonna be a nice straight cut. Let's flip it over and see what it looks like. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that looks really good. And now I'm gonna trim off and leave the black stripe on the end. Perfect. Now for our final trim. The back side, we're just gonna come right down the wood. And I'm going to do a straight edge down the side again. Well, I think that's looking pretty perfect if I do say so myself. Let's go ahead and get this installed back into the boat and we'll see how it looks. Oh yeah, this is looking great. I have to trim one little corner off here because it's rubbing when you open it. But that is it. And perfect. Look at that. Wow, that looks really good. That really ties this whole area in together really well. Wow, that's looking clean. I hope this looks as good to you guys as it does to me because I really like this. That looks really good. Just a thought I'm having. I really hope I have enough material for this. If one sheet only did these two, it's gonna be close. All right, so I'm gonna pretty much tackle the floors the same way I did this here. I'm gonna pull them out, apply it, trim everything up, and then install it back into the boat. Another reason why I wanted to go with the Velcro for installation, because now these will just pop right out. They can go right back in. Okay, so we still got our Velcro attached. Everything looks good. So something cool that I forgot about is that if you order the foam from where I got it from, it actually comes with a roller and a straight edge. So that makes things a lot easier. And the rollers are really helpful because I've just been using my hand, but this really ensures a good adhesion and works out any bubbles or anything like that that might be in it. All right, so same thing. I'm gonna start with the corner just to get ourselves in position here. I'm gonna have it overhang a little bit. Looks good. Peel this back, roll just enough to cover. I'm gonna trim straight down this edge here. And like I said, I'm gonna leave this center part and then I'm gonna cut a slit in it to hopefully let this recess down on top of the rib. right, that looks really good. Right down the black edge. There we go. I'm really worried about cutting off my big piece here because I need to have enough for this larger floor area. So I may have to get a little creative with this front deck. I'm gonna come back and finish this stripe here once I see how much material I have left from the big floor. I'm just gonna set this to the side for now. I love it. Absolutely perfect with the Velcro. And now that'll just install right back in. Awesome. All right, let's put this one back in the boat, see how it looks, make sure that the slits work for the ribs, and if so, I'll go ahead and get the last piece put on the last board, get this all installed up, and then see what we can do about these bench tops. The slits don't look the greatest, to be honest. Probably should have just left it uncut. It's too late for that now, but that's probably what would have looked the nicest. Okay, overall it's not too bad. Overall it's not too bad. All right, with all the floors done, let's go ahead and get this in the boat and see how it all looks, and then hopefully we have enough material to get some of the bench seats done. Okay, well here's how it's looking with all of the floors done. Overall, I am really happy with this look. Now, I'm really hoping I have enough material to get some of these bench seats done. Bench seats do not need material going all the way across. There's gonna be a big aluminum plate that sits on the front here that the seat posts connect to. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of them now to see just how much material we're actually gonna need and how far I need to run it. All right, so obviously these are not cleaned up yet, but this is the general idea of where they're gonna go, just like that. I'm gonna need enough material for each bench seat to basically cover this area here. I don't know if I wanna go horizontal with the stripes or vertical with the stripes, I guess from this angle. I'm not really sure which way is gonna look nicer. So I think what I'm gonna do is take a picture of the boat. I'm gonna go throw this in the Photoshop and I'm gonna lay out either horizontal stripes or vertical stripes and see which ones I like better. All right, so I'll show you the Photoshops that I came up with on the screen now. I've made my decision. I am gonna go with everything facing the same direction. You guys might disagree. I honestly am really on the fence with it, so I could really go either way. I have seen a lot of them done with them all in the same direction and they look good, so I think we're gonna go with that option. Also, I'm gonna be doing these two back corners, so I also want that to kind of tie into the bench lids, which has me kind of thinking that I should just do everything the same direction. Let's go ahead and get this one finished up here. Then we'll work on the two back corners and then we'll see if we have enough for the center bench. Now, this I wanna leave in place as a guide. This is gonna help me determine and make sure that everything is oriented in the correct way. So what I'm gonna do is just throw a couple rivets in here just to make sure everything stays in place. That'll at least keep this from moving around too much so I know that I'm having that in the right spot. All right, so I'm gonna start with this corner here. I just might be able to make this all work with the material that I have. I'm gonna have to have a seam on this bench. Not the end of the world, I can handle that. And then I'm gonna have to really stretch my material to get those corner caps done, but I think we can make this work. Hoping so much that I'm gonna have enough scrap left over to get the corner caps done, because that's really gonna be just the absolute finishing touch on everything. Okay, not too bad. As perfect as we're gonna get with that seam. That was unfortunately pretty unavoidable with how much material I had. But let's go ahead and move on to the back of the boat. Let's get this all finished up. All right, we have to get really creative with the last little bits of scrap that we have. That one pretty much fits. I'll work on that one last. This is gonna be the difficult one. I think I might actually have a piece of scrap that's gonna work for this. This was one of the first pieces I cut and threw away and said, I'll never need it. Well, there you go. All right, guys, well, here it is. I was able to get both of the corner caps complete. We really got into a bit of a jigsaw towards the end there, but overall, I am so happy with how this turned out. I am definitely seeing some glaring, unfinished pieces of the boat now. I do really like how the foam butted up against this extra thick aluminum plate here. So that's gonna look actually really flush once I get those cleaned up and painted. Obviously, I need to get this wood cleaned up here. I think what I'm gonna do for that is just paint it. It's gonna be the same paint as the boat, so that's gonna all blend in together. Those are also gonna be the same paint as the boat. Once I get those last couple items complete, the visual aspect of the boat is gonna be complete. I really like the gray on gray look. I wasn't sure how much I was gonna like it, but it really did tie everything together, especially when I start adding the black accessories to the boat. It's all gonna look really good. Now, the only thing I'm not too crazy about now is my white stripe down the side. I'm wondering now if I should have done a black stripe. The black stripe down the side would have accented a lot better with the black markings in between the foam. That's something that I can still change. It's also something that I can use to add graphics down the side now. Maybe I'll leave the white stripe, but I'll add my Grumman logo back down the side in black. I'll do black registration numbers on the side, maybe some kind of black design, a fish or something like that. That way it'll just kind of all tie the look together. But overall, this thing is looking absolutely killer. I cannot wait to see where this goes. This was definitely a learning experience. I've only done EVA foam once before. And the last boat I did it, the 1648, I think it came out really good, but I only did it in a couple spots, so it was a lot easier to make it look really good. This took a lot more care getting all the lines straight and everything to match up. I know I didn't do a perfect job, but overall, I think that it really has a good look to it, and it looks straight, it looks clean, it looks professionally done. It doesn't look hacked together, which was a thing I was trying to avoid. In the next video, I'm gonna be cleaning up these seat bench tops and then getting them painted and then getting the seat mounts installed. So if you guys are interested, the next video is gonna be all about seating. Be sure to subscribe if you wanna see what happens with this boat. I've got a lot of really cool things I'm thinking about building for it. But now we're starting to really get into the finishing stages where it's a lot of really fun things. I'm hoping to build a little side console or possibly build it into the front bench where we're doing a switch panel and maybe a radio, things like that. I'd like to mount a cheaper fish finder somewhere on the boat, obviously run the transducer for that. Figure out a trolling motor. I don't know if I'm just gonna use my tiller trolling motor in the back of the boat. Maybe I'll mount it to the front of the boat. If you guys found this video helpful, don't forget to let me know by hitting that like button. It really helps me know which videos you guys are liking and that you might wanna see more content of. If you guys have any comments, I'd love to hear it. This was a big undertaking. I'm not, like I said, a professional with the EVA foam installation. So let me know what you think. Did I do a good job? Did I screw it up? I'm kind of nervous about this one. Outside of that, don't forget to subscribe if you wanna see what happens next in the jonboat build, and thanks for watching.